Happy New Year! Happy 1st of January. I'm super excited to be on here with you today. So, if 2022 did not go according to plan for you, so maybe you didn't take on clients that you wanted to, maybe you took on no clients, maybe you didn't make the money that you wanted to. I want to show you and go through with you how you can make 2023 better, right? There's one theme that has come up from every conversation that I've had in the last 2 weeks. I've had four emails alone in the last 3 days about this one particular topic. And it is around, I have all of the things that I need. I've done all the courses, I've downloaded lots of freebies, but I'm not taking the action. Why am I not taking the action? And that's what I want to share with you. If you didn't have the results in 2022, but you definitely want to have them in 2023, and you know that that's the reason that you haven't taken the action steps that you want to, I want to show you exactly what to do, right? Because we all get to have an incredible 2023. It's not just that I get to have it and you don't. It's not that somebody else gets to have it and you don't. We all get to, and it all has to be our own choice and our own decision making. So what is it that you get to do? How is it that you get unstuck? Well, the first thing is let go of anything that you're giving out to yourself for, that you're getting cross with yourself for, that you have been frustrated about, that you replay in your head that hasn't gone well. Let it go. Let it go. It's doing you no favors. Like, most people will either live in the past or be worried about the future and forget about the present. And being in the present is so important, like super important. So it's not about going back to the past and reliving it over and over and over again. It's not about jumping into the future. It's about staying in the present and being exactly where you are. A question that I've been asked a good bit is, how did I maintain my consistency throughout? How did I maintain that belief that it was always going to work? And I think that's a really great question to ask yourself, right? Do you have the belief that it's going to work? So, like I said, if you didn't have the 2022 that you wanted, do you have the belief? Do you truly believe in yourself that it's going to work? Or do you have lots of reasons as to why? Lots of reasons as to why. A lot of people do, right? And this is what they're not willing to let go of. So connect with yourself and say, okay, am I like just super committed to only doing what's comfortable? Am I super committed to, how I feel about past mistakes or past things that have happened to me, and I'm not willing to let them go? Is that what it is that's keeping me stuck? And if the answer is yes, are you willing to make that decision now to let it go so that you can move forward? And let me tell you, that's going to have to be a decision every day. It's not like you're going to make it today and then tomorrow you're not going to feel it again. You will, but you've got to make that decision every single solitary day. I want to share with you, so in case any of you don't know my story, I started my business in 2020 and it never occurred to me that it wouldn't work, right? So I just want to say that never occurred to me that it wouldn't work. The questions that I always asked myself was, what can I do to make sure that it does work? And now, there's a reason why I was saying this. I didn't want to be judged for it not working. I'm a single parent. I couldn't pay my mortgage at the time. So this is when COVID hit and my hours in work had dropped to virtually nothing. And I could not pay my mortgage. I remember calling the mortgage company, bawling my eyes out because I was mortified. I'd never been in a position where I couldn't pay bills. Like, never. And I didn't know what to do. Bawling my eyes out. The lady on the phone was so lovely to me. And she's like, look, we've got you. She was like, there's plenty of people in this position. She's like, don't feel bad. Please don't feel embarrassed. She was like, we will sort this out. And they did. So for a whole year, I didn't pay my mortgage. Now, let me give you the rest of that story. 6 months of that, I couldn't pay my mortgage. I physically didn't have the money. So when I started my business, like I said, I was working in my corporate job. I was only doing 15 hours. I'd also the year before taken a massive pay cut for this job, for the corporate job that I was in, a massive pay cut because I'd been in a toxic relationship where I was very controlling. So that's the story, right? So how do I flip the narrative? Because this is really important for you. You've got to be willing to flip your narrative. So like I said, for 6 months, couldn't pay my mortgage. So where's the rest of the 6 months that I didn't pay my mortgage? I made an empowered decision to not pay my mortgage for the 6 months and had a different conversation with my bank to go, okay, is there a possibility that I could take another 6-month break? And the reason I did that was, like I said, I was wanted to fully make sure that my business was going to work no matter what, because I didn't want to be judged. I was terrified. So what did I do? those 6 months, that money that I was saving from not paying my mortgage, I paid a coach. I literally paid a coach. I invested in a coach because the house was still there. It wasn't being affected. Nothing negative was happening, right? Other than other people's minds, which are none of my business. I don't care. But it got my business off the ground. So why am I sharing this with you? We all have money stories, right? Every single solitary one of us have money stories. But what's yours? What's your money story? Is your money story that you have to have savings in your account? You have to like have certain things ticked off and then you will go and invest, right? Is your money story really careless, like as in you just like throw money around left, right and center, right? You get to decide what that is, and you have to be really honest with yourself for what it is. I have been quite savvy with money up until then, and I was like, no, it hasn't worked for me in the past. I have a life and a job that I don't love, so I'm like, I don't know how to do it any differently, so I need somebody to show me how to do it. And for any of you that are like, that's stupid, right? Why would you do that? Because I wanted to make this work. I could have sat in my story of like, poor me, let me download freebies, let me try and figure it out on my own, or I could actually make it happen. And I chose to make it happen. And anyone that gets out of being stuck, right, have made these exact same moves. Like, there's no coincidence in that. It isn't happening by, it's not because I'm lucky, because I'm not. If that's stories that you have, you've got to let that stuff go too. It didn't happen because I was lucky. It happened because I made it happen. And I will confidently say that over and over and over again, especially being a single parent, because my decisions that I made have to actually change my daughter's life for the better. So every empowered decision you make is always better. But what is truly in the gap, so what the real difference is commitment. A lot of people sit in being just interested. So as in like you want to feel comfortable with your decisions. You want to feel comfortable with what's ahead of you. You want to have the confidence before you'll take the action. And when you operate in like, I have to have this before I have that, or you attach a condition to it, that's where getting stuck happens, because you can't find your way out, because your decision making is still the same way that it was when you were an employee, when you were staying at home. The decision making is the same. As a business owner, your decision making has to be differently, and you have to be able to make decisions at a different pace, at a different level. But you've got to be very aware of what it is. So when I say interested versus committed, interested is where you want certain conditions to be right. And if you ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making your business happen? If you're anything less than a 10, then you're sitting in interested. So you've got to move yourself into being committed, which means that you are willing to do what it takes to make it happen, which means let go of stuff that isn't working for you. Let go of like any control you have, needing things to be perfect, needing things to look right, not willing to invest until you have already made the money, even though you don't know how to make the money, right? It's to let go of the cycles that aren't working for you and the patterns that aren't working for you and the behaviors that aren't working for you. And boldly, because it is bold, right? And it is very courageous to step into a different way of making decisions. It's scary as fuck, right? There's not going to say it's not, but it's knowing that it's scary and doing it anyway. So the difference, like I said, between being interested and committed is interested has conditions attached to it. Committed has no conditions. It's like, okay, I don't know how to do that. Let me figure it out. I don't know how to figure it out. Let me find someone that will figure it out. There's no other options. You don't get to do an either or. It has to be a both and. I continuously worked on my mindset every day and still do. I work on my business constantly and I still do. I have both a mindset mentor and a business mentor. Why? Because I'm committed to making this work, and I'm committed to taking a stand for other women to do the same thing, to do the exact same thing. Like, again, let's go back to the money story, right? If the reason that you didn't sign clients last year is because you were fearful that people didn't have money, know this. There's still people buying houses. There's still people buying cars. There was an awful lot of money spent at Christmas on presents. There are still people going out for dinner. There's still people going out for drinks. So money is still being spent. So you need to let go of that money story and then focus on, okay, what can I create to move forward? What story do I need to have so that I can propel myself forward rather than staying in the crap that just isn't working? Like, we really need to have those honest conversations around it so that it's like, okay, things don't have to look perfect before I can take the action. I've had a number of people book in for calls with me for next week to get their business going. Why? Here's a fun thing that I've learned over the last 5 months. People are moving away from those really big group coaching programs because they want to take action. The big group coaching programs is where people can hide because you have to choose to show up. Whereas if you're in a high level mastermind, or if you're in one-to-one, you can't hide. You're there because you want to make this happen. So whatever it is that you're delivering, if you're delivering programs, if you're delivering one-to-ones, you're there to make a stand for people, to make a change in people's lives. Make that stand, make that change, and really call them forward to make that transformation. 2023 is going to be a year where you're going to see the divide. You're going to see people either quit their businesses, or you're going to see people propel. There's not going to be anything in between. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been in that stuck in like that constant cycle of the same repetitive thing, but you're not getting the results that you want, get off the fence. It's time now to get off the fence and make things happen, and find your courage inside you. Decide that you're going to make that decision every day to be courageous and to go boldly after what you want. Boldly. Get committed AF. Not interested, but committed. You've got to be committed to making sure that you're going after what you want. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's your business, if it's your health, if it's relationships. Get committed. Committed has no conditions. Committed is not an either or. Committed is not, well, I'll wait and see. And one, to help anyone out here who is struggling to make sales, right? Ask yourself the question too, how do you approach sales? How do you approach buying? Are you a hesitant buyer? Are you somebody that waits until you have the money before you invest? Are you somebody that waits for somebody else's approval before you invest? Like, what are your conditions around buying? Because that will be a direct reflection of how you sell and the type of people that you call in. So what I mean by that is, I'm not saying that you're looking to attract in, like, you know, paying full people all the time, because that's not how it works, because you want to have recurring revenue on your books. But your attitude towards buying will be a direct reflection of your attitude towards selling. So if you, like I said, if you're a type of person that's like, right, I want to make money and then I'll invest in whatever it is, right? That's counterintuitive and will actually hold you back and keep you stuck, because you're going to do the exact same thing with your clients. Because if they come to you and you're on a sales call and they are like, oh, well, I don't have the money right now, what are you going to do? Are you going to accept that, or are you going to support them and work it through it? If you're not supporting them to work them through it, that's a direct reflection of your money story. So to confidently move into 2023 and to get unstuck, get committed. Get committed. It is time for us to pull up our big girl panties and get super committed. It's not an either or, it is definitely just committed. That is the only direction that you get to be in. And go kick ass in 2023. Don't let it be a direct reflection of 2022. Go out there and get exactly what you want in the exact way that you want it. Let's go, ladies. It is time to do it.